Hey everyone, I'm Sarah from cats.com, where we're all about cats. And in today's video, I'm going to tell you all about my journey to try to find the best brand of cat vitamins. I tried a bunch of them with my cat Gordon, and let's talk about it. Before we talk about the specific supplements that I tried with my cat Gordon, first let me walk you through how I determined which supplements to try in the first place. So unfortunately, when it comes to cat vitamins and supplements, there's not a whole lot of regulation. And so it can make it a little bit tricky to figure out which ones are safe to give to your cat. That being said, there are some nonprofit agencies that try to fill in this gap and provide some level of regulation and oversight, or standardization at least, to the supplement industry for pets. And one of the most notable agencies in the United States is the National Animal Supplement Council, or the NASC. This council, basically what they do is they have two levels of certifications. So at the baseline level, there is a quality seal program, and basically companies can earn this quality seal if they meet certain levels of safety requirements. And then on top of that, there is a auditing process. So companies can choose to become an audited member by basically undergoing and passing third-party audits of their safety criteria every 2 years. And so for this video, I only chose vitamins and supplements that have not only had the quality seal of approval, but also are audited members of the NASC. So unfortunately, the NASC does not test for efficacy of these products, but they do test for safety. So that did make me feel more comfortable giving these to Gordon. For this video, I also consulted with Dr. Chris Vanderhoof, who's a cats.com veterinarian, and he shared a lot of good insights about why you might want to choose one particular vitamin over another. So I'll share what he said as we go along. Okay, so we've got our notes out, and let's start talking about the specific brands of vitamins that we tried. So the first one is a little bit of a tongue twister, but this is the Purina Pro Plan FortiFlora Veterinary Supplements, and this is actually a probiotic supplement. So it's really designed to support your cat's digestive health, or help them if they have a specific sort of stomach condition or digestive issue that they're dealing with. And how this one is packaged is you have little sachets with just one serving in each sachet, and at least this box has 30 servings in it. The cost is on the more expensive side of the ones that I will be showing you and of the ones I tried. So this box was a little over $30, and so it's a bit over $1 per serving, which is on the higher end of what we tried. Now let's talk about our experience actually using this one and kind of some pros and cons. So I really do like this individually wrapped format. I think it makes it great for traveling, great for storing. It also helps with there not being any guesswork when it comes to the serving size. So a lot of these other ones, you need to measure it out with like a teaspoon or a tablespoon. So there's a little bit more room for error there. So I do like that this is perfectly portioned without having to measure anything. Now, in terms of the negatives, this is powder, like a dry powder, so it's really best suited to put on top of wet food. So if you're only feeding your cat dry food, there may not be a lot of good opportunities to feed this to your cat, unless, I suppose you could mix it with maybe water and kind of weten everything up a little bit so it dissolves a little bit more, but that could be a negative. Also, as I said, the cost is on the higher side. And in terms of actually using this, even with my cat's wet food, it still did not dissolve that well. So I found the experience of trying to mix this up a little bit tedious, because I had to really mix it up quite a bit for it to feel like it was really dissolved. So that was not that great. But in terms of Gordon's experience, he ate it right up. He seems to have no problem. And actually, a few years ago, my cat Gordon here did have some digestive issues, and our vet at the time recommended the specific brand of probiotic, and he was able to recover very quickly from his illness. So really, I have nothing negative to say about Gordon's experience using this. I talked to Chris Vanderhoof about probiotics, and he said that in general, probiotics are safe to give to healthy cats on a daily basis, particularly because there's no known adverse health effects, and in general, they're not included already in most mainstream cat foods. That being said, there were a few things he mentioned in terms of when these would be particularly useful. So especially for older cats where digestion can just become more challenging over time, and also for cats with recurrent digestive issues like recurrent loose stools. That being said, there can be some more serious health concerns like parasites, and he definitely recommended to make sure you rule those out before self-diagnosing your cat with some sort of digestive problem. Now, the next one we tried is pretty much the complete opposite of the first one in that it's not a powder, but this is actually an oil. And this is the Zesty Paws Wild Alaskan Salmon Oil. And this one is designed to support your cat's skin and coat health. So if you're looking for help in that area, this could be an option to consider. It is a liquid and it kind of comes in this like shampoo bottle like container. This is the 32 ounce version. And the cost of this one is more cost effective. So this is $36.97 when I bought it for the 32 ounces. And the serving size is 1 teaspoon for cats under 20 pounds. Although they say that you should start with half a teaspoon while your cat gets used to it. And 32 ounces has 192 teaspoons. So that is only 19 cents per serving. So much more cost effective than the first vitamin that I showed you. That being said, I did have some mixed feelings about this specific brand. So what I like is this is good for both cats and dogs. So it can work for your whole pet family if you have a dog as well as a cat. I also like that because this is a liquid, I think it will mix well with both wet and dry food, unlike powder supplements. However, in terms of things I don't like, I'm gonna be honest, the smell of this is a little bit off-putting to me and I didn't really like it. I think if you've ever had any sort of fish oil supplements, you probably know what I'm talking about. But personally, this was not my favorite just because the smell, and I didn't really like getting this ready and prepared for Gordon. Also, even though I was mixing this with wet food, because this is an oil, it doesn't really like fully dissolve into the food. It kind of just like bubbles up on top of it. So personally, I preferred the ones that dissolved a little bit better. So this was not my favorite, but definitely could be a good option. And in terms of Gordon's reaction, he ate it up, had no problems. So that was great. Dr. Chris Vanderhoof said that the omega-3 fatty acids DHA and EPA can have numerous health benefits for cats, including their heart and joint health, as well as skin and coat health. And he said that this type of supplement could be considered for really any type of cat. But he did say that if you are going to consider this type of supplement, you should definitely check your cat's food first to make sure it isn't already fortified with this type of salmon or fish oil. And he said if your cat is suffering from any heart issues, skin allergies, or joint issues, then your cat may particularly benefit from this type of supplement. So the next one is Open Farms Harvest Chicken Bone Broth for cats. As the name implies, this one is just a broth and it is meant to support healthy joints and skin and overall metabolic function. Of course, the price differs depending on the size you get, which is true for all the ones I'm talking about, but it was $7.99 for the 12 ounce container. And I had to remind myself of some of these conversions, but there are 2 tablespoons per ounce, and 2 tablespoons is the serving for 1 10-pound cat. They say 2 tablespoons for 10 pounds of body weight. And so because of that, that makes this about 66 cents per serving if you have a 10-pound cat. So it's kind of in the middle of the price range. I definitely had some mixed feelings about this one. So what I really liked is because this is a bone broth, it felt very natural. It didn't feel like this was a highly processed vitamin. This is something that if this was packaged for humans, I would eat this myself. So it did feel natural, so that made me feel more comfortable giving it to Gordon. Also, I think this is a great option for both wet and dry food because it can dissolve pretty easily because this is a liquid broth. Also, I liked that because this is a liquid again, it's, I think, very hydrating for cats as well. I feel like Gordon and a lot of cats are not the best at drinking water, so I did like this gave him a little bit of added nutrition. There were some things that I didn't like about it, and primarily this has to do with the shelf life of the product. So because this is a less processed supplement or vitamin, that does mean that it does require refrigeration after opening. So they say that you should use this within 7 days after opening. And if you have a 10-pound cat, as I said, there are 12 servings. So this is enough for 12 days of broth to feed to your cat. And if you have to throw it away within 7 days, that's not quite adding up. You may end up wasting some at the end of the package if you don't feel comfortable spreading that out or giving your cat any more than the suggested amount. So I feel like that is a little bit inconvenient. Also, you will end up spending probably more on this because if you have a smaller cat, you'll probably be stuck buying these smaller serving sizes as well, which is a little bit more expensive per ounce or per serving. So that also can add to the cost a little bit and kind of prevent you from some of those money saving options in those bulkier sizes. So just something to consider. That being said, Gordon had a great experience with this one. He ate it up and had no problems. So that was great. Dr. Vanderhoof also mentioned that collagen is a relatively bioavailable ingredient that can be beneficial for not only joint health, but also skin and coat health as well. Next up, again, we tried something pretty different than the first 3, and this one is the NaturVet VitaPet Senior Daily Vitamins. And Gordon here, I don't know exactly how old he is, but he is definitely a senior cat, so I was excited to try out this one. Gordon, that's not very polite. Okay, so this one is different because this one is actually a treat format. So as you can see, you have these cute little star treats, so a little bit different form factor than the first ones. Also, this is different because this is less specialized in any specific type of vitamin. This is really meant to be more of an all-purpose multivitamin. So if you're not looking for anything specific for your cat and you just want to help them get a little bit more nutrition, this one could be a good option. So this one was $11.99 for 60 servings, and they say they can give your cat 2 servings per day. So that makes it about 20 cents per serving or about 40 cents per day. So kind of in the mid-range of the prices that we're going to talk about. What I really liked about this one is it is really easy to feed just being in this cute little treat format. So I like the treats because you're not really stuck like mixing it with food. So for example, like the oil one, like I wouldn't give Gordon just a straight up, about tablespoon of oil by itself, but I would feel comfortable giving my cat just a little treat like this, even outside of mealtime. So I like that, and could be good if you use like an automatic feeder or something and you aren't always like hand serving your cat food every single mealtime. This could be a good option. What I didn't like about it is it smells very pungent. Like Gordon probably loves the smell of it, but I'm not as crazy about the smell myself. Also, it is a little bit more highly processed feeling than some of the other ones, but I think that's true of probably most multivitamins. In terms of Gordon's experience with it, he ate it right up. He seems to really like them. So that's all good. Next on the list, we tried another probiotic. This is the Fera probiotic. It's a powder like the first one I showed you, but this is just kind of like an open container of powder. It's not individually wrapped in individual serving sizes like the first one. And I would say the texture of this one, it's very kind of a fine powder, almost like a finely ground like flour or something, maybe like a corn flour or something kind of like finely ground like that. The cost of this one is about $24.61 for 60 scoops. However, this one is good for both cats and dogs, so they don't kind of limit you to one specific serving size, and cats between 5 and 15 pounds, or dogs between 5 and 15 pounds, are recommended only half a scoop. So that means that this jar can really get you quite a far away. So it's only about 41 cents per scoop, at least at the price that I got it. And so that would mean it's only about 21 cents or so per half a scoop. So this can last you really quite a long time. So what I like about this one is it is a more cost-effective option. For reference, this is only about 20% of the price compared to the Purina one that I showed you at the beginning. Also, I like that this has 12 different strains of probiotics. So this is really kind of covering your bases a little bit more with the probiotic strains. And it also includes some of the probiotic strains that are most well studied and are most known to help cat digestion and fecal formation. So there's a lot of good stuff in here, which I really like. I also like that it's really lightweight. It doesn't need to be refrigerated, and you could probably store this for a long time in your pantry. So I like that. That being said, there were a few things that I didn't like about this one. Firstly, I did find it a little bit messy. Every time I use this, I feel like I end up spilling a little bit of the powder out on my counter. Also, when I first got this, the scooper was like buried way at the bottom, so I had to like dig in to find it, and I feel like I just like spilled some of it just finding the scooper, so I didn't like that. Also, because for cats, this is only measured at half a serving or half a scoop, I feel like the measurement is not quite as precise as like what we saw, for example, with the Purina one, where everything is individually packaged, individually portioned out. This one, it's a little bit more of a guessing game where you have to kind of eyeball the scooper and see if it's like about half or not. So I didn't really like that. However, when it came to my experience actually feeding this to Gordon, I did have a pretty good experience because this is a pretty finely ground texture. It was one of the best dissolving ones into the dry food, other than like just straight up liquid like the broth. So I liked that, and Gordon ate it right up, had no problems there. Next on my list, I tried with Gordon the PetHonesty Multivitamin. This one is a treat format. So this is basically like a bag of treats. What I like about this option is it is, as I said, more of a multivitamin, so you are covering more of your bases versus some of the other ones I showed you. Also, I am a big fan of this treat format. I think it makes it really easy to give your cat their vitamins in a variety of different ways. You can easily put this in with their dry food. You could mix it in with their wet food. You could give this to your cat on its own as just a treat throughout the day. So I think this is a really versatile option. I also like that there's no extra like measuring devices that are needed. All you have to do is count out the right number of treats. So you don't need any special measuring spoons or anything. And so this makes it definitely a great travel option and really easy to use, which I really like. Also, it's always fun to be able to give my cat a little treat throughout the day. So I was a big fan of that. So the only thing that may be an issue for some people is the serving size is rather large. So it's 1 treat per 1 pound of body weight. So if you have a larger cat, like 10 or more pounds, that's 10 treats per day. So if your cat has like a finicky appetite or things like that, it's just something to consider that you may need to kind of offset some of the dry food or other food that you're feeding your cat potentially, depending on kind of what you're feeding them, but just something to consider. Otherwise, I really like this one. Gordon enjoyed it as well. So I think this is definitely one of my favorites. The last one I'm going to show you is probably the one that I have the most mixed feelings about. So this one is the Nutri-Vet Multi-Vite paw gel for cats. And what's unique about this one is the form factor. So this is not a powder or a liquid or a treat. This is actually a gel. Well, they call it a gel, but I think it's really more of like a paste. It's kind of the consistency of like toothpaste, like a white toothpaste, but it is orange, and at least this one is salmon flavored. What I like about this vitamin is it is a multivitamin, so you're not kind of isolating one specific type of vitamin, but you are covering more of your bases with this. I also like that it is a pretty cost-effective option. So this container was about $14.38 for this 3-ounce tube, and that makes it about 54 servings because there are 18 servings and 3 ounces, and each serving is for a 1/4 teaspoon. So you get about 54 servings in this entire tube. And so that makes this about 26 cents per serving, which is on definitely the lower side of the options I'm going to show you. However, where my mixed feelings come with this is actually using it. So the instructions are you are supposed to put this gel or this paste on your cat's paws and then just let them lick it off. And it's supposed to be kind of like a more interactive, stimulating experience versus just eating it. And I do think that's true. I think this is definitely a more interactive experience. I know Gordon was licking this off his paws for like 5 or 10 minutes, and I feel like his paws have never looked cleaner after he was done with this stuff. So I do like that. But my biggest problem with this is the mess. As soon as I put this on my cat's paws, I'm like, Gordon, please, I hope you do not run across the room or run across our couch right now, because this could cause a huge mess in no time if you actually just put this all over your cat's paws and they run around and get salmon paste on everything. I know my counter where I gave this to Gordon was covered in little salmon paw prints. So I don't know, maybe there's a better way to actually put this, like maybe you just put this on the top of the paws, maybe that's better. I kind of put this on the top and the bottom. I wasn't really sure like how to use it, but the good thing is Gordon really did enjoy it. It seemed like he was definitely licking his paws and he seemed to find it tasty. So I did like that, but the mess and the potential mess is probably what would stop me from purchasing this particular vitamin again. Dr. Vanderhoof also mentioned that these types of gel supplements can be really nice if your cat needs additional nutritional support and to help gaining weight, whether they are just not eating well or they have a disorder which is causing weight loss or preventing normal weight gain. that's it for today's video. Hopefully you found this interesting and helpful if you're interested in finding a new vitamin for your cat. Of course, we will link everything down in the description box for everything that I talked about today. And I would love to know, have you ever tried a vitamin for your cat? What brand did you try and how did it go? Are there any brands that I missed? Let me know, and until next time, bye.